YouTube. So, tonight, or today, or whenever you're watching this, we are going to be talking about the case of Ricky McCormick. Born on June 14th, 1958, which is crazy. Jesse is June 13th. Born on June 14th, 1958, Ricky McCormick seemed to struggle with mental health issues from a young questions about the note. Okay, I'm just gonna pull from another article. So, when they found him, he was wearing tattered Lee brand blue jeans and a stained white t-shirt. The advanced state of decomposition was so severe that the flesh on his hands had rotted away, causing his fingertips to separate and rest among the surrounding foliage. The location where his body was discovered had gained notoriety as a dumping ground for other murders. In 1995, a sex worker's body was discovered along the same stretch of road. The discovery of his body raised many questions for investigators as he was unable to drive. That was one of the reasons why they thought this had to be a homicide. But because of the state of decomposition, it was really hard to figure out how he had actually passed away. Like, was he killed, or was it like his pre-existing health issues? I'm just trying to see if there was anything else. Okay, so a little bit more about the note. The two notes that were found contained over 30 lines of coded material using a mixture of letters, numbers, dashes, and parentheses. Now, again, according to some of his family members, he had been writing those kinds of notes since he was a child. Investigators suspected that these notes could have possibly been written as many as 3 days before his death. Okay, so after the FBI released the note to the public, they also requested information from anyone who might be aware of other notes that Ricky may have written, as they believed it could provide valuable context or allow for comparison. But it seems like no one has ever come forward with anything. So again, this is like yeah, so I mean basically